Hey, Steve Chase here, and I bet you're watching this video because you're having trouble with QuickBooks Online credit memos. You're wondering how to fix an issue where a customer has overpaid you, and you want to know kind of how to work with applying that credit to a future invoice or issuing out perhaps a refund. So this video is going to cover exactly what happens when you have a customer overpayment, what happens when you want to issue a credit memo, which means that you can apply that to your own invoice at the time or hold reserve for later. And we're also going to see how QuickBooks Online by default, it has it automated to apply your credits just automatically, and it will kind of pick and choose which invoice to apply that credit memo to. So sometimes that's great, sometimes not. So we'll look at that as well. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my sales center and click on customers, and we're gonna be working with Alex here. And here is a list of what we have for Alex here. We've got a total of 4 invoices right here. 2 are paid and 2 are overdue right here. Okay. What's funny is if you add up 750 plus 750 twice, we get 1,500. That's what's overdue. However, QuickBooks is showing that we have an open balance of 1,400. Let's go run a real quick report here called Accounts Receivable. And you can see here's a minus $100 for Alex Johnson, and then over here at 1,500. So if I were to click on this, I can see that there has been issued a credit memo on November 10th, CM 595. I can see that this was created and sent out. If I wanted to see a timestamp of it, I could click audit history and see who did that. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's begin by receiving a payment from Alex that's going to be greater than 750. So receive payment. Alex Johnson. So let's say Alex gives us a check, and it's check number 105, and we're going to receive $800. Okay. So when we type in $800 right here, what happens automatically is it has gone over the oldest invoice here, 1040, and the remaining balance, $50, came down and spilled into this other invoice that we have open for him as well. So that's what's going on here. And on top of that, we also, it's using $100 credit as well. That's going towards all of this as well. So we've got a lot going on here. What I'm going to do is don't want the $50 to go towards that invoice 1041, and I don't want to use the credit memo. Just to show you that if we did everything like this, receive $800 for just this invoice here, well, that's over the invoice amount, the original invoice 750. So what happens with the $50 that's overpaid? Well, if we go all the way down to the bottom, it's going to say that this transaction will create an additional credit in the amount of $50. Okay, and so just like that, I'm just going to put a little note here, over payment of $50. We'll apply that $50 sometime in the future instead of applying it right away to one of these ups here. Save and close. All right, and so now if we run our reports, accounts receivable, you can see now we're down to the 750 invoice is still open at its full amount, and we have applied 2 credits. We've applied a payment of $800, and you can see that it was, since it was over, it's still hanging out here in the balance here. It's over $50. So until we do something with that $50, it's going to show up in the accounts receivable, which kind of seems odd, but it truly is a negative accounts receivable. He's overpaid, so we got to do something with that $50 there. Okay. All right. Sure, we could have a statement that is sent to Alex by clicking on statement and carry the balance forward, print preview. We can see this can be kind of helpful here, possibly, where we have you get to choose in the statement what date to start, and then we can start to see any particular notes that we have here as well. Okay, but let's talk about how QuickBooks automatically deals with credits automatically. And if you go to the gear icon and select account and settings, we have advanced, and then we have this concept here called automation. So you can see right here, QuickBooks is automatically going to apply credits to the invoices for that same company. So if you want more control and you don't want it to automatically do that, you can uncheck that and then save it like that. Okay, now that it's off, let's say that we receive another payment from Alex. Receive payment. And let's imagine it was now check number 106. Okay, so when we come up here and here's our original invoice amount. Notice the balance is $600. So if we came up here and typed $800 again, it automatically is going to give us a additional credit of $200 right here and close it out. It's just forced to do that there. So that's how you can undo the memos, the credit memos in that scenario there. Okay. In reality, if he did do that, okay, and then let's say now the next invoice comes about, so we have another month. If we look at Alex's pattern, he's getting a monthly bill of $750. I'm going to create a new invoice on the first for design. $750, invoice 1043. Forgot to mention. Okay, so here we go. Didn't mean to do that. Save and close. Okay. And now let's look at the accounts receivable. You can see now if we were to click on this total here, you can see that $800 that we just got has been pushed to the 200 balance here. So all in all, he owes, he's down to 550. So to really clear all that up here, we can say, Alex, hey, next time you pay, you just owe $550. So by clicking on, let's say, closing all out, we receive the final payment from Alex. Okay. And we got our full payment here. We have to say what it is that we've done, 550. Awesome. And we take that 550 that he paid us with this check number 106. That closes off his invoice. And the other part right here, this unapplied payment here of that 200 is going to go towards that option there. So at the end of the day, he's closed up. This is kind of how to handle the credits and so forth as such. We can go back to his original customer center to see if everything is nice and tidy and a zero balance. And we're looking at that option right there. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Last thing here, just going to double check this here. This is interesting here. So you do have I missed that. We do have a 200 balance in this particular mode here. When we click receive payment, you can see that this 200 payment has been kind of washed out here like that. So it does net out to zero. It's an interesting, it's kind of a $0 payment because we're just simply using that credit memo here to go towards that. All right. All right. Oh, and then that cleared it out here. Okay, so it just needed to catch up on the refreshing. So it didn't. Sometimes that happens in QuickBooks. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was helpful to kind of clear up the credits. They can get kind of frustrating sometimes, but if you just look at it one at a time, anytime you're wanting to kind of see how payments are applied, the easiest way to do that is go to your customers, click on the payments, clear it out here. So you can open up any of these payments here. Payment, 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 payment. You can now click on it and see how things were attributed towards. So you can see this is the 800, and it's possible that you might need to really inspect these check boxes here to make sure that the dollar amount that you came in, you did apply to that. Otherwise, you can decide to leave a credit if you didn't want to close one out by unchecking it, and that's kind of put you back in the same driver's seat you were in before to create that additional credit over here to be used at another time if that was the desire of doing that. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.